SHEntertainment presents Making It in the ATL, where we highlight those making big moves in and from right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Everyone knows Atlanta as the Hollywood of the South, but there are so many different elements and careers in film and television that those who want to enter into the industry don't consider. One of those careers, and possibly one of the most important, in my opinion, is editing. A film or television series does not happen without it. And we are so excited to have one of the most accomplished and sought-after editors in Atlanta, Deanna Nowell. Deanna began her career at Turner Studios, editing promos for TBS, TNT, Cartoon Network, contributing on projects such as the award-winning Inside the NBA. And while there, she honed her craft in independent cinema, editing Three Can Play That Game. I was in that, y'all. Over the course of her career, Deanna has edited for Marvel Studios, Netflix, NBC, BET, OWN, Sci-Fi, Nickelodeon, and Lionsgate. Oh, it goes on and on. Notable credits include Ironheart, Grand Crew, Beauty in Black, Sacrifice, Raising Dion, Ambitions, yay, Sisters, Superstition, and Alpha Man, The Brotherhood of MLK. Hey girl, hey, I am so excited that you have joined me. I really am. When I was thinking about doing these videos and wanting to get information about the business out to people trying to get in the business, the very first person I thought of was you.
Thank you.
Because I know how important editing is in film and television. So let's start from the beginning. Did you always know you wanted to be an editor, or did you stumble into it in another way?
Well, I always wanted to be in television and film, but I didn't know where in television and film. So while I was at Clark Atlanta University, I met a group of other students who were making films on the weekend. So there were writers, there were directors, camera, and all that. So I started off doing camera, and then as we went through the whole process, nobody wanted to edit. So every class I had, nobody wanted to edit.
Oh, wow.
It was
okay.
just tedious, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I learned from a young lady who I don't know, I think she just loved being in the element of production. She used to always be in the studio. So I asked her, could she teach me how to edit?
Okay.
And she showed me a few things and then kind of walked out, and then I kind of figured out on my own. And eventually I learned how to edit, and I started doing like little videos and things and helping out with those films. So that was basically, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. I kind of like this part. And it's
Yeah.
not tedious to me.
Yeah.
You know, it has, I love the storytelling process, but I never saw myself as a writer. So this was another way for me to write, in a way. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's so interesting that you put it that way.
Yeah, because and a lot of editors say this, but it's like we're the third and final rewrite,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you write it as a writer. The director interprets that writing, they shoot it, and then we get into the edit space, and then we rewrite it. Because sometimes what you shoot and what you wrote is completely different.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, the end product.
Yeah. So I kind of learned that early on in the process. Even though our films were hilarious, it was like Tubi before it was Tubi. You know what I mean? But basically, I think I discovered I think editing chose me. I didn't choose it.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've always felt that in editing, you are more a part of the director's vision than even the writer.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the end, to the music, all of the end product of it.
That's my favorite part. Like, my least favorite part of editing is that, you know how writers have writer's block with the empty page? An empty timeline is what freaks me out.
Okay.
Okay, like, where do I start? And then when I get dailies, you know, the dailies come in, you have all this footage, and then you have to put it into these scenes. And so that process is always the most stressful time for me, because I'm like, oh, where do I start? There's so many good options, or like, oh, that's a good wide. Oh, I like this transition. How do I? And I'm like, okay, Dina, just throw something in a timeline. Just put something down.
Yeah.
And then I start cutting. And then after that process, once all the scenes are cut, then the fun part is the shaping. Okay, let's move this scene over here. Let's move this scene over there. Oh, how about we start on the close-up? Oh, maybe we should change this take. Or, you know, all that, all the possibilities show up after all the scenes are already cut.
Oh, so you have to cut and edit every scene?
Yeah, you do. So we do our editor's cut. Then we have the director's cut. And then we have the producer slash like showrunner cut. And then we have the studio slash network cut.
Gee whiz.
So there's several cuts.
Yeah.
It's never that just, you know, you cut it and then that's it. You know what I mean? So it's always a series of edits. And that's why when people are like, well, they shot that 2 years ago. Yeah, they shot that 2 years ago. But there's still certain ways of telling the stories. Like certain things aren't clear. The story points aren't hitting. So you're like, okay, let's go back. Maybe we reframe this, recut this scene. Or maybe we turn these 7 scenes into a montage and tell the story. So you just kind of like massage it and figure out what works. And I think that's my favorite part of that whole process is the what if part. What if we move this? What if we try this? What if...
And the director looks to you to help make those choices.
Yes, it depends on the director.
Oh.
Now, sometimes directors are they're sticklers for what their vision is, and you just do that. You just do what they say, and it's fine. Like and the way I do that is I'll say, are you open to looking at something I cut, you know, and a different interpretation? Are you open? And a lot of times they'll say, oh, let me see it. And then they may say, oh, you know, no, I want to stick with this one. Or they look at it and they go, oh, why don't we blend the two and we can create a different version of this together. Yeah. So it's always that like collaborative. That's also fun is the collaboration. If this mutual respect and creativity, because respect is a big thing in the edit room. Because when it's not there, then you're just like, you feel like a button pusher. You're just kind of like there doing the technical part of it, which is not the fun. Like the fun part is the creative part.
Right.
Yeah, because you can learn the software. There's different types of software to use to edit, but in the end, it's about the story. It's not about what equipment you use to get it. It's the story.
Right, exactly.
Right, and you want to protect your actors. You want to protect your director. You want to protect the writer. You want to protect all these people, especially when they're people of color. Like, it's so important to me to protect people while I'm editing. Like, I want to protect women. I want to protect Black people. I want to protect my actors, you know, because sometimes, hey, you know, you working on a scene and this actor cannot get their lines together. They are trying so hard and it's just not working. So there's certain techniques you kind of figure out, okay, how can I make them seem like they are really in this scene?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So you just kind of all right, I'm
yeah.
gonna put all these lines underneath this other character reacting to this person. So you just
Okay,
get rid of all the
yeah,
air. You just cut everything tight underneath a reaction shot.
yeah,
And then you have their best part in front of on them on camera.
yeah, yeah.
So you make them look good.
Oh my
you know?
gosh. You really are a creator.
Right.
No, seriously. You know they say directors and actors and writers are
Hmm.
creators, but the editor is right to me is like right up there
I
with them.
appreciate that because a lot of
Yeah.
people forget about us, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get it. Okay, so once you decided editing was for you,
Yes.
what was that very first step into the business like? And what got your foot in the door?
Oh, wow. That's a good question because there are many different people and situations that kind of got me to scripted because ultimately I wanted to be in scripted film, television,
Mhm,
you know, that part, the creative. So what got me in the door, I worked at Turner Studios
mhm,
for 10 years.
mhm,
I worked in the promo department. So I did promos for Cartoon Network, TNT, Inside the NBA, all
mhm.
those things. So I worked on all of that. So I went from being this is how old I am. So I went from being a tape operator to an assistant editor to an
Okay.
editor at,
Okay.
at Turner.
And what is a tape operator? You know
Tape
I have to
operator
ask that.
is when everybody used to use digital beta tape and
Okay.
D2 tape. So we
Mhm.
would just, be in the tape room and switching out the tapes
Okay.
for all the editors. And they was like, oh, I need tape 27B. So you go out there, go in there,
Yeah, yeah,
put
yeah.
the 27B in there. And so we just assisted the assistants and the
Okay.
editors.
Okay.
so,
Okay. Okay.
so, but now everything is digital, everything is
Mhm.
file based. So all of that. But I think a lot of that stuff, the way I think, because I came from linear editing, because that's linear, because if you make a mistake, you have to start all the
All
way
over.
over.
Wow.
But in, non-linear, you can just move stuff around and all
Mhm.
that. And it
Mhm.
wasn't as easy,
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
the beginning. And
Mm.
I started in the tape room.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So, but I was at Turner for a while, but I don't know if you know Quintessence Patterson. She's a
Yeah.
makeup artist,
Yeah.
and she does a lot of shows. She's
Mhm.
Atlanta
Mhm.
based, but she's all over doing
Mhm.
makeup. She recommended me for a film. It was an independent film, and I ended up editing this short film, which was like
Mhm.
Ed Banuel was the director, and he was also local. And it was only an 8-minute short kind of,
Mhm.
and so I cut that for him. And then I went to Urban World Film Festival,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Oh,
I want
okay.
to do this.
Yeah.
Promos are cool, but I really want to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
And so after that, I did a couple more like shorts for him. And Rob Hardy
Mhm.
saw one of the shorts I cut, and I met him at Atlanta Film Festival.
Mhm.
He said, "You cut that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Give me a call." So I got his information, and even though he kept, sending me things to do, but the timing, because I was still at Turner, didn't
Mm.
work out.
Okay.
So but I kept his information. He kept in contact, and then eventually, Three Can Play That Game came along.
Yay! I was in that show.
So Three Can Play That Game. He asked me, was I available? And I was at Turner at work.
Mhm.
I'm about to tell the story. Okay, I was at
Okay.
Turner, and I was just having one of those days where I was so bored with what I was doing.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What are you able to stop by set today? I want you to meet a director." And I was like, "Sure." So I faked a little illness so I could leave work
Mhm.
early.
Mhm. I've been there, done that. I know.
I was like, and so I left and met him on set and met Samad Davis.
Mhm.
And Samad was like, if she's available, I like for her to cut it. And So I made myself available. So the thing was is that at Turner there were a lot of people who could leave and do other things and then come back. But for some reason, they didn't let me do it. So I was like, okay, so what's the difference between me going and working for 3 months and then coming back to work? Other people did it. You know what I mean?
That's another TV show.
That's another TV show because they happen to be male and they happen to not be the same color as me, but whatever. So, but I quit my job. I quit my job.
You stepped out.
Oh my
on
gosh,
faith.
I stepped out on faith. I was like, please God be with me.
Yeah,
But I
sometimes
was
that's
like,
what you have to do sometimes, though.
I was so like, I felt like I wasn't seen anymore. Like I was invisible in that space. And I felt alive when I'm doing creative things. So I was like, I have to do this. So at my last day at work, I cried all the way to my car. I was like, Lord, please.
Like, oh my
The
Lord,
right
what
thing
have I
for me to
done?
do, Lord. Please, God. And so even though I was scared and I had just had a baby too, my baby was 6 months old.
Oh,
I was like, oh God. But I was like, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
I keep putting it to the side. I was like, Sony who gets to edit a movie for Sony in Atlanta?
Yeah.
So I was at that post facility at Peachtree Post. I was editing. I was doing what I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I built that relationship with Rob Hardy, with Will Packer, with Diane Ashford. Like, it was just, I had to do it. And it felt right. And I built that relationship with them. So that was like that was like one of the biggest opportunities and the biggest steps I ever took, like to get me in the space of scripted. So that was like me opening that door and walking through.
Yeah, those folks are great, Rob, Will, and
and every
Diana,
time they
love
have
them.
something, they will think of me like, oh, especially if it's in Atlanta, because at the time, of course, I had a child, so I was, I had my kids and stuff, so I didn't want to go to another city. So if something scripted showed up, like, or even commercials, I've done commercials for Rob. I've done like short format, like teasers and sizzle reels for Will. So I've kept those relationships to this point, like all the way till now. Like I reach out to them quite a bit about my career goals and things of that nature as mentors and stuff.
And that's really what it's about almost in this business.
It's relationships.
It's relationships and building those networks. It really is.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Okay. I know editing can be a tough field to break into, especially for women. You were about to get in there.
Yeah.
What challenges did you face early on and how did you push through them?
Well, the biggest thing is, especially when you're a mom, is the juggling of because editing, they don't care. Like, people will be at home eating dinner, but they expect you to have that edit finished. They don't care.
Oh, wow, really?
Like, they don't. They could be on vacation, laying in the sun, but they want that cut. Like, they want to see.
I got it.
They want to see that 30 seconds or that half hour. They want to see it, right? So a lot of times my children had to be with me in the edit room. Like, so I think Atlanta because Atlanta, I don't know, it feels like a small town, even though it's not, like, And so because of that, I was able to ask people, hey, can my kids come, when they get out of school, can they come and sit in the room with me, and they'll do their homework. They'll just, so I was able to kind of build that into things. Like, okay, can I bring, even when I was at Turner, I would work the night shift from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I could bring my baby with me and just kind of put a little palette while I worked. And then things of that nature. But it's the juggling. And then it's that thing of like, you you want to do both. Like, I want to be a good mom and I want to be a good editor. And sometimes things just kind of, you just have to, and you have, my kids are very understanding, very patient with their mother.
Yeah.
But they see that this is what I've always wanted to do, and I've always gone after it. And so hopefully that inspires them to go after what they want to do. So, but the challenge was I didn't sleep a lot. A lot of times I would edit when they were asleep. I would stay up, do everything with them, and then I would edit when they're asleep. Or I would get a babysitter to keep them while I was out working. So it's the sacrifices that, because mom is mom. So that's one of the biggest things, was that juggling of being a mom and being a wife at the time, and juggling all of those pieces of me. And also the stigma of when people aren't accustomed to seeing a certain person in the chair, they're accustomed to seeing someone who looks different. It's hard for them to put you in the chair and trust you. And sometimes you have to walk away from things. I think at Turner, I was limited because they rarely saw someone who looked like me sitting in that space. And even like one time a cleaning lady went by, she was like, she looked in the room and she came back. She said, "Excuse me, I rarely see anybody on the other who looks like you on the other side of that other side of that table." She's like, "Go girl, do your thing." And then she left. And it was like the cleaning lady at the building, because it's rare to see us in those spaces. But we exist, And but I feel like being in Atlanta kind of helped me get in that space quicker than I think if I went somewhere else. Because those relationships of, filmmakers in Atlanta, creatives in Atlanta, and being in a space where there's HBCUs and things of that nature, where I felt like, why can't I do it? Because I was in a space where, hey, of course I could do this, because I'm editing with people who look like me at CAU. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So of course I can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
So the biggest thing is the getting people to trust you and getting people accustomed to seeing you in the chair. And so that's been the biggest challenge. And the thing is to get in the chair and to get people to trust you after that and see what you bring.
Right, what you bring to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And a lot of times, I think I got a lot of practice relating to people working when I worked at Turner, because every day I had a different client in the room. So I would have to think, okay, what do we have in common? Where can I meet them? Okay, this person is my age, so I can discuss this. Or this person is married, so I can discuss this. This person has children, so I can discuss this. This person is from the Midwest, so we can discuss this. So it made me think, like, okay, what do we have in common? And not focus on our differences.
Right.
So,
to help you bond there.
Yeah. So it's always a bond, because you're going to be in the room with someone for hours. Unless they're one of those producers where they're like, "All right, here are my notes," and then they leave you. Which I love those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the biggest challenge was always the getting people accustomed to seeing people who look like me in the chair and getting them to trust me.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let's talk about the craft itself, because this is absolutely fascinating to me. When you sit down with raw footage, what's the very first thing you do to start shaping a story?
Well, my favorite part is after everything's cut, but also I love reading the scripts prior to. So I visualize already, like, before I even start editing, and I might pull music that might be inspirational for me. I pull music that might be great for temp, score, and
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. So if it's like an action um, show I'm working on or a feature or something, I'll like pull music that I think might be in it, because
Mm-hmm.
it create a soundtrack in my head of like, oh, okay, this might be kind of cool to go in there. And then a lot of times I'll listen to those things while I'm reading the script or whatever, and
Mm.
just kind of put me in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go through the footage as it comes in, because it comes in, as you know, as you shoot. So it's random. So it might be scene 3 and scene 54.
Oh,
So you
wow.
don't know which
Mm-hmm.
scenes are coming in that day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you do, because you get the information. But what I do is I watch the raw footage, and if I laugh, I put a marker. If I
Mm-hmm.
tear up, I put a marker
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, this take was really good, so I felt it.
Mm.
So I do
Okay.
performance first.
Mm-hmm.
So I go through and mark all the stuff I like. Any reactions, like, oh, this is a good reaction, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, or if it's like a shot coming in, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start it with that particular shot. I like that shot.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have time, I watch all the footage. But sometimes
Okay.
you don't have time. You gotta
Oh,
go.
okay.
You gotta get it done.
Okay.
But when I have time, I watch every single frame and make all my notes. And then I'll start with something like I said before, like that timeline, that empty timeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
So I'll pick something, say, okay, this was a good moment, so I'll put that in, and then I'll cut around that moment,
Okay.
and then if I know how it's gonna start and I
Mm-hmm.
know how it's gonna end, then I'm like, okay, this scene is cut.
Okay.
So I'll move it to the side because you can obsess over something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just cut it one way, go to the next scene, cut that scene, go to the next scene, cut that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have time that day, I'll go back and tweak those scenes before I
Okay.
pass it off to if I have an assistant on that show or
Mm-hmm.
on that feature, then I pass it off to them to do like a sound pass. And what they do is basically clean up the sound. If there's extra, they
Mm-hmm.
switch out mics for me, or they'll add like ambient sound. Like if it's in the office, they'll add the office sound effects. They'll add
Mm-hmm.
people in a restaurant sound effects. And then they'll put in the temp score, or I'll put it in. So
Mm-hmm.
it depends on the show. And it also
Yeah.
depends on the assistant, because if we don't have the same taste in music or whatever, I'm like,
Oh,
let me do
okay.
this part.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, but that's really how I really start, is to kind of see what I'm working with as far as the footage I have and what connects with me emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Then I pay attention to those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, can you share a time when you had to make a really tough editing choice? One of those decisions that maybe changed the direction of the entire project?
Well, because really, my interpretation, like the editor's cut, is kind of like it's like my manipulation of the footage. So this is what I think. And then I
Mm-hmm.
work with what they think, the directors, and then we
Mm-hmm.
go from there. But sometimes I'll come up with something where, like I worked on Ambitions,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
on that show, there was a scene where um, one of the characters, they hated her, and then they poisoned this woman, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't know who poisoned her. Everybody's looking, and so it was like this
Yeah.
little montage of like people. So that scene, the director just didn't have enough time to get all the pieces that she needed to get,
Mm-hmm.
and so she was like, "Please, like, I don't know." Good luck, like
Oh,
like
she.
she's like, I gave you this, I gave you
All
that, I gave you
right.
that. Good luck,
Go at it.
right? So after and I stayed late trying to figure out that scene,
Yeah.
but it was like one of those things where I pull music. I was like,
Ah.
oh, I can use a Sam Cooke song, which is
Mm-hmm.
the opposite of. So it's like a song that's the opposite of what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the song was like lovable. And so people hate her. So I was like, oh, let's use a song called Lovable. She's so lovable.
Oh,
And so I used that
yeah.
song and I used them, everybody kind of looking at her as this drink kind of walks through the crowd. And it's like everybody's ha 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 ha. She's over
Yeah.
there ha 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 ha, and this drink is just steady coming through the crowd. And the song,
Yeah.
she's so lovable, however the song. And so once that it lands and she drinks the drink, and you see everybody kind of react to her drinking the drink because we still don't know
No, who
who
did it?
poisoned her.
Yeah.
So it was just crafting and that piece. And so the director, she was relieved, like, okay, cool, all right,
Oh, nice. Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Yeah, because she didn't
Yeah,
know what to
she
do
was
with it.
like, good luck. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, so stuff like that where I'm there to kind of like sculpt something out
Mm-hmm.
of what we have, the
Mm-hmm.
pieces and moments like that. And like another show I worked on, she was a new director, and she was like, I watched this cut and it's a lot of scenes and a lot of shots, and I do not remember doing that to those shots. And I was like, well, I kind of added like a little camera move to things. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, pushed in on things and reframed the shot to give it a feeling and all that. And she was like, I can tell you know what you're
You did.
doing. I know I didn't
Yeah.
shoot. I know I didn't shoot that. So it's always like a little bit of me adding myself to
Mm-hmm.
each
Mm-hmm.
show or scene or something where there's me in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and a lot of times I don't, when I'm not connected to it, it's difficult to, like, I have to step away from it and say, okay, how can I insert me into this?
Mm-hmm.
Because right now
Mm-hmm.
it's not flowing yet. So how can I get it to feel like me? And
Mm-hmm.
then I'll watch it over and over again and come up with things and try stuff and see if the producer or the director kind of agree with that
Mm-hmm.
decision. But a lot of times it's just a little something where, um, like on Ironheart, there's a scene where um, the the character before the scene was all about them talking and having this long conversation, but now the scene is about him feeling paranoid.
Mm.
So they didn't shoot it that way.
Mm.
So I just went all the way in on his face and had him kind of looking. And a lot of those shots were between takes, like the actor just sitting there.
Mm.
So
Oh.
you just was waiting for the next thing. So I look at that stuff too. It's like, oh, can I
Yeah.
use pieces of them just sitting?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of times actors don't realize that I'm looking at, little things in between after the director might be talking to them and directing them, but they're kind of looking off. I'm using that shot. Like if I can use
Yeah.
it, I'm using
Yeah.
that shot.
Yeah. Mhm.
So he's looking off, but he's listening to the director, but I'm using it as he's he's paranoid. He's listening and looking around the room. The sound is muffled. He's in his head. We add this loud piercing sound like he's suspecting everybody around him and looking, and then we kind of come out of it and then he says this line. So it's
Oh,
like
wow.
creating moments like that
Yeah.
is always fun because it's like those little moments add to that scene, add
Yeah.
to the motivation of a character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this very quickly. Do you consider what you say as an editor is good to know every facet because you're a director, right?
Right.
You're an actor, or you're seeing it through an actor's view,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Producer.
Right.
So you have a little bit a knowledge of all of that.
Right.
Would you suggest that as someone who wants to be an editor, try to learn a little bit of everybody's craft.
Yes, for sure, because I do want people to know what I do too. Because that way we can speak the same language. And if I love when a director or producer can come in and we can discuss different shots and things of that nature, and they understand what footage is and how I can manipulate it and things of that nature. But yeah, you're right, because I have to know, you know, actors' motivation and what they're thinking, okay, in these moments, and be able to connect with each character and also create shots and that will give a tone to something, and music and all of those things. It's always a part of creating that show or that scene. But yeah, I suggest learning as much as you can. And I read, I listen to podcasts, I when I need motivation, I watch a ton of stuff on YouTube of interviews from my favorite actors, my favorite directors, and I listen to how they get inspired and what they do. I listen to all those like Hollywood Reporter interviews and
Love them.
the variety ones,
Yeah.
and I listen to all of that, and then it kind of I relate it to what I do, and those things motivate me a lot and help me get into the mind of an actor, get into the mind of a director, and listening to my peers talk about the challenges that they have. Editors not listening to them, editors talking down to them. And especially when the editor might be older than them. The editor might be, a man versus, she's trying to get her point across and he's not listening. Like I know what I'm doing type of thing. But the whole thing it's very political where you might know in your heart of hearts, like the showrunner is going to cut this scene out. This showrunner is going to cut this out. But this director that I'm working with for 4 days wants to see this scene. And out of respect for this director, I'm putting this scene in.
Yeah, because he asked for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have to respect and protect your people as you go. So I'm like, this is his or her for 4 days. I'm locking in on what this person wants. And then the producers come in for a week. I'm locking in on what they want. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, how can I keep a little bit of the director's vision in this, but still do what they want? Like, how can I do both? I start off trying to do that. If they say just cut the whole thing, then I don't have a choice. But if I can hold on to the integrity of the director as well as do the note that the producer or the network wants, I'll try to do that first.
I'm going off topic here for a second. You would think, though, that as the creative, and see, this is the part of the business where you just want to go, that the suits, as we call them, would take your lead or would take the director's lead. Because it's like, the art of movie making. The director knows the art of storytelling. I would think it would drive you crazy to have the suits come in and a scene should be in the movie. And they're going, no, let's cut it.
Oh my gosh.
Cut it.
Oh my goodness.
We don't like it, cut it.
Yeah. And that, oh my goodness, that happens so much where you will have to fight. A lot of times you have to fight and you have to explain why it's important. If they let you, if they allow you to speak your mind, in that way of like saying, okay, a lot of times, like especially on when we did Ironheart, there were so many different personalities and different generations on the show.
Oh, okay.
So certain things would click with older people, and then certain things would click with younger people. And it was like explaining, well, this is important because this demographic will get it.
Okay.
And this is important because this, and this isn't slow because of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're explaining to both sides, like, we need this because of this. And thankfully we had people who were open to seeing different versions of things. So in order to keep a scene in, I would cut it like I'll do 5 versions. 5 versions with this scene in, shorter, longer, different interpretation, 5 different ways.
Wow.
And then have them look at it and go, oh, you know what? I kind of like version number 3. And then we would put that in the cut. So it was a lot of that. It's like, this is important. We can't like assume that the audience knows that this person sent this person to go kill this other person. We can't just all of a sudden this person is being killed. We gotta, give the go ahead to go do this. How can we get it in here? And so it was like using some flashes and things of like flashbacks and things going, whatever we had to do to get it in there.
Yeah.
We did it. So yeah, it's always a fight with. It's that creative, like, but it was 8 different people trying to get this thing.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy. So let me ask you, from your perspective, what makes editing here in Atlanta different from New York or LA? Or is there a difference?
There's definitely a difference because there's a structure more so in LA. And in New York, there's structure. You do this, this, and this. There's levels to things. It's like, okay, when you go in as an AE, an assistant editor, if you're assistant editor 1, assistant editor 2, you go in, your role as an assistant editor 1 is to be more of like a creative with the editor. And then as an assistant editor 2, you go in more as a technical. You're doing exports, outputs, importing things, turnovers to different departments. It's more technical. And then if you only have one assistant, they have to have both. Be creative, also be technical. And then the editor, but here in Atlanta, you have to kind of wear a lot of hats. So you can you're sometimes your own assistant editor, you edit, you do motion graphics, you do all of it. You kind of learn as many things as possible. You do color grading, you do all of the things in Atlanta. But when you go to LA, they're like, oh, no. I edit, you do the color grading, you do the sound, you do this and do that. Everybody does their role. Here, it's more a little bit of everything. And I think that kind of helped me in a way because I understood multiple things. And I think that kind of helped me as far as like understanding other people's jobs because I had to do them. I had to get on the School of YouTube and find out, okay, how can I make these opening credits look interesting? And then figure out, okay, I'm going to do it this way and take tutorials and do things in order because I'm always learning. And I think Atlanta kind of prepared me for that because when I did promos, I had to clean up my own logos. I had to create my own graphics and effects myself. And then the assistant would export and do things for me, but for the most part, it was on me. So it just made me more well-versed as far as different techniques. And I use those techniques when I do a lot of my scripted. So I guess, and also too, Atlanta has such a thriving, like independent film industry here. So you can always find someone who's doing a short film who needs an editor, who needs, some type of graphics or something going on that you can get in there. And there's enough film festivals and meetups and things of that nature where you can build their resume a little faster than if you go to LA or New York or whatever. You might not get as many if you're not out there looking for those things. So
Do you wish you had gone to school, and do you recommend like someone who's interested that?
there, there's pros and cons to all of it. Um, but I feel like you should learn, either way. Like you should learn the industry. You should have mentors and things of that nature. And um, because I didn't go to film school, so a lot of the stuff I know I learned along the way,
Yeah.
listening to people and being open to people critiquing things and asking people to look at things, and they'll say, oh, why don't you try this and do that, and I'm like, oh, what is that called, and listening to directors and like, okay, let me look that up, and now it's so easy to look it up. Okay,
Yeah.
what is that? I watch a lot of videos on Studio Binder. It's a I watch
Love
that.
it.
I love that.
Love Studio Bond.
I watched that. I'm like, okay, directors getting cameras and all this stuff, and learning about the lenses and all that. And so yeah, you can learn that in school, but also keep learning. But yeah, film school I think also builds your network really well, because a lot of these
Yeah.
big directors and producers, they all went to USC or NYU together and all that. So it's where you build your network.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Um, I imagine along the way
Mm-hmm.
that you've had people who supported you. And I know now you're a mentor because you sent one my way, someone that you mentored. Um, how has mentorship played a role in your career?
A huge
Yeah.
role, because like you can look at mentors as people who've already achieved and you want to be where they are, but you can also mentor next to. So people who are coming up with me, they're, I'll ask them, how do you handle this? I have a group, I'm in a group now, sisters who edit. We're all Black women, we all edit, and we'll ask in the group chat, hey, have you ever experienced this before, or what's a good technical way to fix this? I keep getting this error, can you help me? We help each other in that group. And but also, just like Rob and Will, they're not editors, but I like, you know, what they've done in the industry. So I ask them questions as well. And now I have mentors who are like incredible editors who are, Oscar nominated and Emmy nominated and winners and all of this stuff. Now, like, I can walk up to Pamela Martin and ask her a question, and she edited King Richard. And like, so, hey, Pamela, how do you handle this and that? And like, just in circles now that I'm inspired by and mentored by these people who I look up to and have always looked up to, but also people who are on the same level as me. And the mentorship never stops. And the mentoring and being a mentee never stops. And anything I learn, I try to pass it on to, especially if people reach out to me, I'll definitely answer a question.
Yeah.
And I may not get back to you that day, but I'll get
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
and we have to remind people is like, I'm going, just kind of remind me, like,
Yeah.
but I do want to answer your questions and I do want to help out, and to just check in, because I check in with people, and I know I'm not offended if they don't get right back to me.
Yeah.
I eventually get back and they eventually get back.
Yeah.
But it's important to share your experience and share what you've been through, and hopefully it'll help the next person do what they want to do, or inspire them to do something that, or at least do what you do.
Well, you know I love you because you sent somebody my way. My first little project. I was like, I can't afford her, but I'm gonna call her anyway. And I called you, and you were like, girl, you know I love you. I do it for free, but I am so busy. And you just turned me right on.
Yeah.
To shoot. You gave me like 3 names. And you're like, well, call these people.
Yeah.
These people can give you what you need.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work out, call me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to share. You have to and give that person the opportunity, because who knows, like this opportunity helping you do what you need to do will spin off into something else. And it's like, just keep growing and building those relationships, you know, and it's important.
Okay, for those in the audience dreaming of becoming editors, and we need to really start thinking about other careers in this business other than being in the front of the camera. What are the skills that they absolutely have to have in order to do what you do?
I think there's several skills you have to have. A lot of it has nothing to do with editing.
Okay.
A lot of it is people skills and managing the room. Being able to know when to speak, how to speak in the room with executives, with creatives, because you don't want to step on anybody's toes. Like if it's someone's idea, you don't know if it was their idea on set and it isn't working. So a way to interpret those things, because a lot of times you can edit and be incredible at editing and know how to key something and bring a scene in and to crop this, that, and the other. You can use the software all day, but if people don't like being in a room with you, you're not going to get hired. Because I know some people where their personalities will as good of an editor, like incredible editors that I know.
Yeah.
But that attitude.
Yeah.
And that, you know, sometimes that diarrhea of the mouth, and they can't stop themselves from saying something.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's across the board. That's why we always tell people, be nice. It's not going to kill you to be nice, especially in this industry. Because as an actor, if somebody's thinking about hiring you, if you think they're not calling around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
To see how you were to work with.
Yes.
You're crazy.
Right.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's so important to, yes, be yourself. However, it's still a business, you know, and eventually, if you're lucky, you'll build some genuine relationships and they'll become real friends. And then, okay, you can say, okay, girl, you know that's not working.
Yeah.
You know, you can say that then. Yeah. But when you're in that corporate environment, it's still corporate, you know, even though it's, you know, a studio or a network, it's still, you have to, there's a hierarchy, there's a certain way, certain decorum, certain things. You just do not cross those lines because people will remember that. They will remember that. And then people definitely call and they ask, can this person do this job? What were your issues? What were they good at? What were they bad at? And they want to know. Because a lot of times, if you're at a certain level, they know you can edit. But can I be in a room with you for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, learn the technical stuff, figure it out, and be honest. If you don't know how to do something, say, you know what, stand by, let me figure this out. And figure it out. Don't complain about it. Don't say that's not going to work. Figure out how can you make it work. Or if you don't know how to do it, say you don't.
No.
Let me let me get back to you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say you know how to do something and you
And
don't
then get in there and can't do it. Oh, yeah, I
and
would
it's
imagine
okay.
that's the worst.
That's the worst.
Yeah, and can't deliver.
And you cannot deliver it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the hard part too, being realistic on deadlines and try to be deadline driven. If you think something's gonna take 7 days to do, give it 10. You know what I'm saying? It's like get tell them like, oh, it's gonna take 10 days to do this. But if you finish in 7,
and then you
great.
finish it early.
Like I don't know. Yeah. So just communicate. Make sure you follow up with people and say, "Hey, I'm at this level right now. I finished the notes. I'll be exporting shortly. I'll let you know. Do everything's okay. I'm exporting within the hour. Just keep them in the know, because the scariest thing for a director producer is not knowing when something is coming. Like, oh, when is this? You know, it's supposed to be due today. She said today, and it's not. She hasn't contacted me.
Yeah.
So if it's due today and you see, oh, it's not going to get done today, it's like, hey, I still have these notes to do. It's more like you'll have it tomorrow morning. So just communicate that.
Yeah.
That's important.
Girl, I can be here with you all day, but I'm going to wrap up. Looking back on your journey, what's one piece of advice you wish you had known when you first started, and what do you hope your career says about you as a woman in film and the media world? Because you know we catch it.
I know we do. And I think the main thing is like, know that you're enough, and know that you don't have to be anybody else but you, and just be that in that environment. And it's added value. You add value just being you in that space. And you don't have to be anybody else. You don't have to compare yourself to other people, because you know what worked for them may not work for you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so important because I think especially early on, I put a lot of pressure on myself, because I'm like, well, this editor is probably faster than me, and this person is probably, and comparing myself a lot, instead of like competing with myself and pushing myself for me, and instead of looking outward. So I think that the most important thing that I've learned and that I would want other people to understand is to, you know, only compete with yourself and push yourself to be a better version of yourself in your career, and how you interpret the art of editing, because it's an art.
It is.
It is an art, and you just have to figure out what's your piece, what's your interpretation, and stay true to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. I love you so much. I really, really do. I think you are an incredible woman, and you are really, really a credit to the editing industry, especially as a Black woman.
Thank you so much.
That's why I'm like, okay, girlfriend. You're doing it the way it's supposed to be done.
Oh, thank
you. And I love you so much.
I love you too.
Much, much success to you. And I got no doubt the next time I see some big movie on the screen, editor, and your name pops up. Thank you so much. I'm sure people will be able to get a lot out of this.
I hope
and
so.
Hopefully it helps them to move forward in their careers. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, no, I don't work this hard for nothing. First I did it for me, now they keep it 100. I do it to look clean, I do it for the love, and I do it all to show the homies we can have what we wanted. And now I'm chilling in the mansion with a glass of champagne. Not the cheap stuff, but I cannot drop names. Little private plane when I'm flying out to Vegas. Big shades.